So, halftime reaction. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Whew. Let's see. He's out, unfortunately. It was an amazing catch, but he was out of bounds. Wow. Yeah.
One more look
right.
On Justin Ross
here. The knee hits, foot still in the air.
Sophomore out of Phoenix
That's coming back. It was a great catch. What's going on, guys? What's up, Dwayne? RJ?
He can be as good as he wants to be.
Man, that was incredible. Yeah, it's going to take him a while.
He was out.
I'll be honest with you. This game seems cleaner than what I have seen from. You don't have ACC Network. Get PlayStation View, man. Change life for you. So one of the big reasons I'm doing this is because there's not a lot of people that have the ACC Network. What's going on, Brian Dennett? What's up, UGA versus DSU? Charles Doyle, Alex Howard, Camel Shark, David Johnson, Dwayne, RJ. What's going on, guys? What's up, Not Just Rocks? Man, Clemson's just murdering them, just killing them. I will say, though, I have been impressed with the change that Georgia Tech has made has been interesting.
Clemson on top, 28-0 over Georgia Tech.
Can't show too much of the game. Oh. Man, Georgia Tech's actually been pretty good at tackling, man. They've been wrapping up. It's been good. Has the score changed any? Yeah, it's 28-0. Tech won't throw the ball even if you put a gun in. Well, I think they're kind of testing out some things. They're testing their run game, which is smart for them. The one pass they did make, I think one or two passes they made, one of them got picked off. Georgia game moved to ESPN due to the hurricane. Man, almost another interception. I will say I was absolutely impressed that Swilling picked that game off, man. Travis is going to be scary. You talking about Travis Etienne? Hey, buddy. Are you going to take a BATHE? Nope. All right. Doing well, Charles. Hope y'all doing the same, man. I'm not watching the Cincinnati game. I don't even know what's going on with that game, man.
Looks like he knows it, too.
It's a really fascinating.
I got to tell you, man, Trevor Lawrence looks good, man. Steroids have done him wonders.
By Spires.
And that's a whole off-season of steroids. Looks good. Georgia, of course, absurd hero. I will tell you, Georgia Tech's punter is actually pretty good, though. Heisman candidate for a fact. He's a chill. Cincinnati putting a beat down on UCLA. I don't doubt it. I think Travis Etienne is pretty good, but I don't think he's anywhere near the caliber of what Georgia has. I know it's going to sound crazy to some people, but they play against a lot of soft opponents, so his numbers are inflated. Got a flag on the play here. I don't know what it is for, though. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Hit that thumbs up, man. Appreciate it.
And to the point about Lucas Johnson, we talked at the beginning of the game, Dave, about...
What you need, buddy? You need your puffs? Let's get them. My tiny fella wants his puffs, so we're getting them. You can't see anything. I've got the camera angle. This game's a joke. I'll tell you, I know it's going to sound crazy, but for a while there, I was actually pretty impressed with how well Georgia Tech was doing against Clemson. They're getting crushed on the scoreboard, don't get me wrong. But Georgia Tech's actually been able to move the ball here and there, and they've been able to put together some decent drives. Of course, Clemson can just burn them over the top when they want to, so it's just a matter of that. Here's the pass. Yep. Wasn't a bad pass. You're just dealing with NFL cornerbacks and safeties. Not a whole lot you can do against that. Who do I think will win the SEC East? Georgia, of course. And Georgia's just too dominant. This is on paper in their roster. This is the best team they've had in like 95 years or something. That's what they reported on ESPN. All right, here we go. Looks like they're going to blitz. Nope, they're backing out of it. They're trying to get them to jump. What are they doing? Snap the ball, man. There you go. Throw it. Oh, you're going to run it. These guys are too fast, man. You can't do that. See, Georgia Tech is not used to the speed that Clemson brings, man. College football playoff, Georgia, Clemson, Oklahoma, and then maybe Alabama. FSU versus Boise State. Who you got? Boise State. All year long, I'll take, for the rest of my life, I'll take any team that plays FSU. I don't care if it's Louisiana Monroe Tech. How did you watch Hawaii versus Arizona highlights? In my opinion, better game than Florida versus Miami. No, I didn't watch that game, but it was probably, I don't know, man. I enjoyed that game. It was a sloppy game, but it was exciting. I think it was sad that Dan Mullen was about how happy he was he won that game. He should have been furious. Clemson losing 88-14. What are you talking about, Brian? Got tickets to see the Georgia Murray State game, first Georgia game for me since 1980. Wow. Maybe that's a sign, not just rocks. Maybe you're the reason. Maybe you're the reasons we haven't won a national championship. What's going on, Tiger? I bet you're having a good night. Love you too, buddy. So right now it's 44 seconds left on the clock. Dwayne knows exactly what's on my mind. What's going on, Sarah? Glad you can make it. 3rd and 9 from the 26. Let's see what they do. Let's see them take a shot downfield. You might as well. It's 3rd and 9. They're going to run it up the gut. They're going to run it up the gut. Watch. Come on.
Really burning that clock.
Why are they burning the... What is he doing? Why is he running the play clock? Ball hits the ground. Up the gut. What was that garbage? Good Lord. They are falling apart, man. Yeah, the punter for Georgia Tech looks like a freaking lineman. Guy's like a tank back there. You know, hey, if you playing against Georgia Tech, you know they ain't faking it. You know they ain't running a fake. Oh, I know, Brian. I know, buddy. What's going on, C-Dog? I tell you what, though, old boy can kick. Look. He's standing. He kicks from the 15. Look where this ball lands. He lands on the 30. That's a punt, y'all. See, from the 15 to the 30 on the other side, it's 35 yards to the 50, and then another 20. So it's a 55-yard punt. First quarter, Georgia Tech will be running the triple option. First quarter. Oh. They were just seeing what was going on, man. UJ for title. Willie Taggart or Kirby. Bryson, get out of here with that noise, man. You know. Here's Clemson. Let's see if Clemson, are they going to be noble and just kneel it out? They can kneel it out. Tech's only got one. No, they don't run a play. Wow, man. That's an incomplete pass. They're going to run another play here in a minute. Oh, Texas A&M up 21-0. Not surprising. Nah, there's a lot of people high on them this year. There's been some people that's been kind of trash talking them for some reason. I don't understand, saying that they're not going to have a good season. Texas A&M's got a ball club, y'all. I'm telling you. Oh, here he goes. Pass. I don't know if he caught that one either. They going to rule that a catch? They're trying to work down the field, man. Arkansas score prediction. 3-0. I don't know about that game. I haven't really looked into it, man. But Arkansas, I mean, it'll probably be like a 30-25 games, 30-24 games, something like that.
Picked up the first down.
They're trying to score again. Look at it. Look at this big rascal. Juiced.
Going short and
Throwed it away.
he throws it
Man. Flag. What are they calling for?
down on the play
Holding?
with 15 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Declining it. Looks like it was against Georgia Tech. Holding offense. 28-0, Thomas. Kirby needs Big Dog Brett to address the team before every game. That'd be iconic. Dude, I'd love to do that, but I don't think they'll let me in the locker room. We lost Dylan Moses for the season. We did? I'll have to look. Oh, you guys lost Dylan Moses. I was like, nah, we don't have Dylan Moses. You guys will be fine without Dylan Moses. You guys have plenty of talent. It's next man up. You guys will be fine. 15 seconds on the clock. 1st and 20 due to a holding call. Trevor takes a snap, looks downfield, looks off a receiver, passes to the corner. Oh, tipped it out of bounds. Who's he tossing to? Higgins? He's tossing to Higgins. He keeps making some wild passes, man. Making some wild passes. This dude's got like 10 pins. Look at this. Good Lord, what do you need all them pins for, man?
That's the thing that hasn't really looked like much.
Yeah, he's a South Carolina guy. I get it. Let's see. Here he goes, pass. Running for his life. Running for his life. Oh, what a pass. Oh, picked it. Oh, and he fumbled it. God almighty. Who said Georgia Tech players were smart? Who said that? Oh, man. Picked off 4 times all of last year. Got picked off twice in 30 minutes. Oh, all right. So they're going into the locker room. Let's go over here. We're going to have our little powwow. What you doing, Tiny? Man, you can't see the kitchen there the way I do it, honey. Wife's worried about the kitchen looking like a mess. All you can see is the cabinets. Tech looks like a rambling wreck. Yeah, I mean, but that really is to be expected. It is their first year. Oh, nice toss. Yeah, he did. Batman went off-roading. So glad football is back on. Me too. I mean, I couldn't be much happier. Auburn versus Oregon. Clemson, Georgia, Oklahoma, Bama, or Michigan. If they got a choice between Bama or Michigan, they're going to take Bama because probably the only team they're going to lose to will be Georgia in the SEC championship. And a one-loss Bama, if they've been dominant, they're going to put them in. Can't wait for a huge Christmas tree in December. Yeah, we're going to have another big one this year too. We'll have another big Christmas tree. Michigan State is a sleeper. Now, that's probably one of the most accurate statements I've seen. Michigan State's been putting their stuff together over the past couple of years. I got a friend of mine. He's a Michigan State fan. And I pull for Michigan State when they play. It has absolutely no impact on Georgia. Those guys play with a lot of heart, so I like watching them. But, yeah. Hit that thumbs up, guys. You ain't got nothing else to do. Listen to me talk. I know you certainly ain't got nothing else to do. History proves we'll be okay with Moses still pissed about losing him though. Yeah, that guy is an incredible talent. Looking at the way Trevor Lawrence has played, I'll be honest with you, I haven't been super impressed. I get it, they're up 28-0 on the scoreboard. That's more to do with their defense than it is Trevor Lawrence. What's going on, Brian? But as far as I can tell, I don't really see any dramatic, just imposing of will the way you would expect it. I've seen, even though they haven't scored any points, there's been some sloppy football. It's the first game. Clemson will fix it. They'll tighten it up. I get it. But I was kind of hoping for a little more polished performance out of Clemson. Michigan State will end up in the top 15 at the end of the season, of course, because you only got you only got a handful of teams that's even worth being in the top 15 this year. There's just not a lot of dominant teams. SEC still down. Who gets more catches or yards against Vandy, Don Blaylock or who? George Pickens. If they play George Pickens and they throw the ball at him, it'll be George Pickens. But I'm betting you'll see Lawrence Cager out there creating some sauce. All the LSU and Barners is pulling for Clemson to beat us is going to get there. Still nightmares from Georgia. Best down versus Hawaii and Sugar Bowl. Respect your program. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. David Johnson says Vanderbilt at Thomas Jefferson. Count up says Texas is back, part 15. I like that. Your team is Penn State, and I hope you'll finish with at least a good record. I think Penn State certainly has an opportunity. What's going on, Rashad? Penn State certainly has an opportunity to finish. I think they can pull off a 10-win season, but we'll see how they do. Texas A&M looking good. Hey, did you hear Mama? Listen what Mama said. Come on. Yeah. So anyway, About what I expected, vanilla sauce. Yeah, I mean they're not really pulling out any. They're not really pulling out any heavy coaching. It looks like this game is more of a let's try out and see. Play pretty conservative. Try out and see how we are against them, and make sure we're playing fundamental football. And it looked close to that last 5 or 6 minutes of that second quarter that they kind of started opening the playbook up a little bit and really letting Trevor kind of move around and throw the ball the way he wants to. Probably going to see more in the second half. If they roll Trevor Lawrence out there in the second half, if you are a Clemson fan, you should be calling Dabo Swinney and losing your mind. There's no reason for Trevor Lawrence to play in this game. Georgia Tech game cannot get past the defense. I don't see any reason to hurt Etienne or Higgins or Trevor or any of them. Have I ate a Popeye's chicken sandwich yet? No, sir. I will not commit that sin against the Lord. I only eat the Lord's chicken, and it is available at Chick-fil-A. Go Dogs, add you on Facebook. Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. I think Clemson will lose to Texas A&M. Hey, Mary, I ain't seen you in a hot minute. I'm glad you made it back in the channel, girl. What's Georgia's powerhouse high school and must go to? I don't know, dude. I think Trevor Lawrence is just too good. I don't think that first or second year coach Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, whatever he's doing. I don't think there's any way that they're going to be able to actually They can't out-coach Clemson at this point. Dabo Swinney's a hell of a coach. And if you're looking at a way for Texas A&M, if it happens, it'll be the upset of the season. That's just it's certainly possible, but I just think that Dabo will take that game very seriously. I don't feel like Dabo's taking this game very seriously, and they're still crushing them. So I think if Texas A&M wins, it'll be a close game. Is Clemson playing Texas A&M in Death Valley? I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. There are a lot of high schools. There are a lot of Georgia high schools are powerhouses. Yeah, there's a ton of high school. There's a ton of talent. Football is a real deal here. My son's high school, I think it has a grand total between all the classes combined. It's probably got maybe 1,000 students. It's not a huge school. And they spend the money to do brand new AstroTurf on everything. They spend the money to do full person-sized vinyl wraps to put on the fence when you go into the stadium of the senior football players and the cheerleaders. I mean, a lot of money gets spent in this state for football. I won't say every high school, but there's a lot of dead blame high schools down here with a lot of talent. I mean, you can't drive anywhere in Georgia more than probably 30 or 40 miles without running into a school that's won a state title 2 or 3 times. Kentucky got a good running back from Valdosta. Yes. For those of you in the channel who don't know, the quarterback for Miami is from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Trevor Lawrence is from Georgia. Jake Fromm is from Georgia. There's a ton of talent from Georgia. Yeah. I will say though that even though they've been getting beat up, I've been impressed with the fact that Georgia Tech has been able to run the ball up the middle a few times against Clemson. It doesn't. If I was going to say they had a weak point, I would say it would be the dead center of that Clemson defense. When Georgia Tech is able to spread them out a little bit, they can still run it up. I can't remember right off the top of my head where Justin Fields is from. What's going on, Stacy? Yeah, Georgia definitely had its opportunities to choke, and we've taken advantage of those. So we're coming along now. As far as to see Georgia Tech be able to run that ball up the center. Fields is from Georgia. He went to Harrison. That's right. See Georgia Tech run that ball up the middle. It's been pretty impressive. What's going on, Jonathan? Hey, Mr. Keith. Glad to see you in the channel, sir. Hope you're feeling well. Kennesaw. This skips my mind. I can't remember where all these players come from, especially ones that don't play much. Like in your wide receiver core, the only thing I'm concerned about is Tua's health. if Tua gets hurt early in the season, and then once you get late in the season and you start playing against some of those tougher opponents, that can be a problem for Tua. Right now, for those of you who don't know, DeAndre Swift, who is the leading running back, and you could probably say the best talent we've got that is proven. What's up, Mr. Bond? We love you too, buddy. Have a good night. Thank you, sir. We'll do it on a live stream. Get some sleep. You got school tomorrow. Looks like Kellen Mond already got injured, but it doesn't look serious. You're going to see a lot of these early season injuries. Guys are going to be listed as questionable. It's just kind of all part and parcel of getting back into the rhythm and flow of things. You know, if you're a lineman, stepping your foot in the right place. I mean, I've seen so many linemen get knee injuries from stepping back and falling over somebody because they didn't step in the right place, or they just got shoved to one side. I mean, it happens. I want Texas or LSU to make a playoff, but I don't think it will happen. Texas has a better opportunity than LSU because LSU has to run the gauntlet of both Bama and then whoever they got to play in the SEC East, which will likely be Georgia, and they'd have to beat them both. So that's going to be pretty tough for them to do. How cool is it if we be three SEC teams get in? It would be interesting, but I don't know how it would happen. I mean, it'd have to be something remarkable. Georgia would have to go undefeated to the SEC championship. Bama's only loss would have to be to LSU. LSU would have to go undefeated and beat Georgia in the SEC championship. So you'd have a no-loss SEC team, 2 one-loss SEC teams, and then I guess Clemson. I mean, that's the only way I could see that happening, but I think that's a long shot. LSU can lose to Bama and still make the playoffs. I don't think so, Justin. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm just saying that's the only way I can see it happening. I don't see it happening, Lester, but that's the only way I can see it happening. I truly think LSU and Georgia for the SEC championship. Wow, you really think so? Oh man, I don't think Coach O can out-coach Nick Saban. I just don't. Bama, Georgia, Clemson. All 3 of those teams are highly talented teams. It's hard to say. I mean, I think Georgia has an extremely talented roster. I've seen Clemson go tit for tat back and forth with Alabama, and I've seen Georgia bring Alabama to the wire twice. So, I mean, it's anybody's guess when those guys play. What's going on, VT Dub? We all know Florida's not going. Ain't that a fact? Whew, man. Oh, man. They are so incredibly sloppy. That's a terrible team, man. Terrible team. Watching those guys, I was just like, it's fun to watch. He says he's not a troll, but he don't think Alabama's going to make it. Happened with, I mean, I don't know, dude, because they lost to Auburn. Georgia beat Auburn, and they put Alabama in. I mean, they'd have to lose 2 games. So if they're going to lose 2 games, who are they going to lose who are they going to lose 2 games to? They'd have to lose one to LSU. And if that's the only game LSU loses, that puts, that's the only game Alabama loses, Clemson win, and LSU doesn't lose any other game, that puts Georgia playing against LSU in the SEC championship. So I guess, with a one-loss team, they'd still get in. So who would be the LSU or Auburn LSU? Yeah, I don't know. Missouri is a sleeper for some teams, but not for the elite. Bama isn't losing until the SEC championship game. I don't see them losing to the SEC champion until they get to the SEC championship game. But if they do, they'll lose barely, and that's it. I mean, that's just the way that's going to go. I've watched too much football to say that they're gonna get killed. What's the score? It was 28-0. It was 28-0 at half, so I don't think they've started back up yet. Hold on. Yeah, we got Mark Rick up there talking, and Mark Rick doesn't know what he's doing, so yeah. I swear I told some Buckeyes fans that Urban Meyer was going to quit on him, and he's probably going to coach USC in the 2020 season. He ain't going to coach. What Urban Meyer's doing is Urban Meyer's waiting for Dan Mullen to get fired. He wants that job. Clemson's still scoring during halftime. Oh, they got to go in there and roll it back up at halftime, man. Don't you know? Sarah says, darn Bama dead and buried before the season starts. Okay, right? Rick is lost. He trying to look for some validity. He don't know what else to do. Somebody called him up and said, hey, we know you ain't coaching, so you want to come to this game? Oh, man. Heard a weird noise today coming from the west. It happens once a year. Once every year. It's the boys in Tuscaloosa cranking the tractors up. My goodness. Oh, man. And nothing better to do, man. Nothing better to do. Bama has no competition until UGA won't be close. UGA is the only challenge to Bama in the SEC. There's a lot of analysis that are picking Georgia to beat Alabama this year. A lot. And I got to be honest with you. I mean, even as an objective fan, Jake Fromm brought him to the wire twice. And this is the third year. And it took the backup quarterback at Alabama both times to come in and save him. I think the other part of that was Jim Chaney was too conservative with the offensive play call in the second half, and all that's dead and gone. Urban Meyer's the Fred Sanford of college football. That's right. I think Georgia will beat Bama, but it will end in overtime. It's possible. Alabama's got a great team. Not trash talking Alabama, but Georgia's definitely coming up. College football is evolving. You can see how the old style of football really doesn't work the way that it used to. There's a lot more RPO packages that are being called, so that's why you see these college football teams changing their offense. Georgia Tech's changing theirs. LSU's changing theirs. Georgia's modifying and changing theirs. Nick Saban's modifying and changing his. I mean, used to at Alabama, Georgia can't stumble this year. No. Choke. Georgia can lose a game, but they have to win the SEC championship. So, VTDL said they take Big Dog Bread over Aunt Lou. Get tired of hearing about that guy. We need to win every game. I want to win every game. UGA's coming up, but Sarah's right. I don't know. I almost want to say it's like Georgia's turn. Georgia's been building. Who can schedule Clemson? Who can challenge Clemson on their schedule? I don't see anybody. Unless Virginia Tech or the Gamecocks get lucky, I don't see anybody beating them. I don't. They have the easiest schedule. I don't really see Georgia losing either. I don't. Now next year we play Alabama third or fourth game of the season, so we'll see what happens. Clemson won't be challenged until the playoffs. That's probably accurate. I would agree with that. Kirby's learned his lessons. Prepare for both quarterbacks. Don't get conservative in the second half. Chaney's gone, so it'll make it easier. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how in the second half how Clemson's going to play. I want to see what are they going to go reserve? Are they going to pour it on? Are they going to let Trevor Lawrence play in the third quarter and then take him out halfway through the third quarter? I don't think he'll play the whole game. I just don't. So, does Clemson play Texas A&M? I don't have that schedule pulled up in front of me. I think they do, but I'm not sure. Michigan is the Hillary Clinton of college football. If Georgia had a cupcake schedule like Clemson, they would be in the playoffs every year, most likely. And there's been several coaches that have had opportunities to come play in the SEC, and they've chosen not to join the SEC because they say that they'll have an easier route through the ACC, which is true, and it's smart. I don't see Herbert taking that job in Florida, knowing him. He ain't going to want anything to do with the SEC. He'd rather go somewhere else where he can win. Dabo calls off the dogs always. We'll see. He may decide he just wants to stretch it out and run it up 60 points. Who knows? But looks like the game's supposed to start back up in a few minutes. I'm going to go check on my little guy, and I'm going to do a fan reaction at the end of the game. So you guys tune back in then. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. When we get to the game, at the end of the game, if you guys would share as soon as it pops up, it really helps. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks so much for tuning in. God bless. Go Dogs.